And Belinda will be speaking about the reinvention of mines in Gateshead from 1926 to 2026.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Gateshead. It's an honour to have this symposium in the Baltic in a building that is actually on our heat network. So hopefully keeping you at a nice temperature today and also keeping the lights on as well with our power network. So as Eileen said, my name is Belinda Humphrey. I'm the Energy Services Manager at Gateshead Council. We also wholly own and operate Gateshead Energy Company, which runs the network, as I just mentioned there. So I'm here to talk to you about our network and kind of the journey that we've gone through. So you may have seen this iconic building. It pretty much gets featured on every heat network's document that gets published. So this is our original energy centre, which runs on gas CHP, but I'm not going to talk about that too much today because we're here to talk about the mines. So this is a map of the mine workings beneath our feet in Gateshead. Obviously having gas CHP when we set up the network in 2017-18 was great, but we're really on a journey to decarbonise our network. And we didn't start out looking at mines, we just looked at ways to decarbonise our network. And it was actually a conversation with Jez, who was at the Coal Authority at the time, speaking to Jim from Gateshead, and said, well, have you ever thought about the mines? So they had a look at the mines in 2020, so we're in 2026 and we're already up in operations. It was a very fast-moving project. So we extract the water from the flooded mines beneath Gateshead. There is a lot more technical people in this room than me who can explain this much better. That is not my field. So I'll give you a brief overview, but you're probably best speaking to probably Dan and others in the room about the technical aspects of it. So we extract the water from 150 metres below ground. We bring that up to our mine water heat pump, which is just down the road as well, extract the heat, and then it goes and heats homes and businesses around Gateshead, which is really exciting. I think especially because coming from a mining background, my granddad worked down the pits, my mum worked in the pit kitchens, and I'm very honoured to have my mum in the audience today. I'm probably more nervous the fact that my mum and my kids are here than doing any other presentation. So, and I don't normally bring my kids. Wednesday is my non-working day usually, but I really wanted to be here to do this speech. So thank you to everybody for accommodating me this morning as well. So back to business. So we've got the mine water boreholes, and everybody gets really excited about visiting the boreholes, but honestly, you can see more on this picture than you can in real life when you kind of lift the covers up. So we went through that journey. So we extract at about 12 to 15 degrees, and we re-inject at about 9 degrees, and it goes back in and just gets reused to then provide that continuous heat source to Gateshead. This is also just inside our mine water heat pump that we operate to provide that heat to Gateshead. Again, everybody gets really excited, but unfortunately you can't go in there either because of the use of ammonia, so just better to look at the pictures. And one of the things that's made our scheme really successful in Gateshead is the support of local politicians and the councillors and things at Gateshead. They've really seen the vision that Jim had and helped to really drive that forwards. This is Councillor McElroy, who's had a massive influence on the network, and I think that's made a big difference. I believe that mine water is something that we need to develop across the UK, and it's a massive opportunity. But not all councils are as willing to take the risk as Gateshead have been. So thank you to the leaders and the politicians for enabling us to do that and to really get this groundbreaking, quite literally, scheme off the ground and providing that heat. We want to continue that journey of decarbonisation, so we also have 2 solar parks feeding into our network, providing about 4 megawatts of electricity in. So what that means on those sunny days like today, where we can get a lot of power in from the solar farms, and we can turn off the CHP, so we can use the electricity from the solar to power the heat pump, and we don't need to use gas, which is getting more and more increasing. We're able to do that and to kind of manually monitor and turn up and down our different assets that we've got feeding into the network to really support that decarbonisation journey. I did mention before that it feeds into our main network. So this was the original master plan that we started with. I've added a nice pink star to show you where we are today, just to match the tanks on the energy centre. So the green network is our original network. So you can see the red dots are all connections. The dark blue line is the connection that was put into the mine water heat pump, and then the light blue line goes down to our most recent completed connections into 270 new build homes, Gateshead Stadium, and then we've also done a retrofit into existing homes, which we believe is one of the first schemes for existing low-rise housing connecting into a heat network. We're then now looking at the yellow extension. It's not going to look exactly like that, but that is the next extension which I'll come on to. So this is a really great image that the Mining Remediation Authority put together that just gives you some context as to where we are and actually how close the mine workings and the solar farm. The solar farm sits over where our boreholes are, so it's all really close together, which makes this work really well and efficiently. We use our heat network as well to provide a variety of loads to multiple different kinds of buildings. So we've got residential, we've got the big buildings like this, we've then got leisure centres, civic buildings, and then we've got future connections that we're looking at, which you might have seen the building sites depending which way you came in, where there's plans for a conference centre and arena on Gateshead Quays. So with funding in from NECA, they will be hopefully going ahead in the next kind of year or so. And then we've also got future connections. The yellow extension that I talked about is we're currently in negotiations with Tesco and Trinity Square for connecting them. That's their biggest gas using site. So that'll be massive if we can get them on and to help decarbonise such a large operation, which also includes 1,000 student flats above it. We're also in contact with the Curie Hospital and local businesses such as iPark. I think the main thing for me, though, it's great connecting all these big buildings, but to me it's about the end users and those individuals, people's lives that we can make a change to by providing low-cost, low-carbon heat. So we have done new build housing, which is a new build housing estate just across the Felling bypass, and we purposely left these pipes above ground here just as kind of a talking point so people can see. It's really hard for people to kind of visualise what district heating is when it's pipes that are probably 2 metres below ground, and whereas we can keep those pipes there and we can kind of visualise and show how it works a little bit more. As I mentioned, we also have done retrofit. So this is a council estate just down the road from the new build housing. So we've done a pilot scheme of 16 homes, an assisted living facility and a church to connect them to the network. There was 15 council-owned properties and 1 privately owned property, which we managed to get onto the network as well. And this is one of those areas that is in quite high levels of poverty and things like that. So it's one of those areas that probably has been impacted in the past by mines closing. So then if we can support them positively by reusing the mines to do something different, then it's helping them to reduce their energy bills, but then it goes wider than that. So if they've got reduced energy bills and a warmer home, then they're more likely to then be an active member of society. So they're more likely to be able to go to work or to school. If having a warm home makes such a difference to people, and it sounds mad that pipes in the ground make such a difference to that, but I think that's a really rewarding part of this work. And I've just seen Fiona there pointing, going, that's where the living lab is. So you'll hear more about that from Fiona soon, because it is literally just across the road. And to be honest, the massive part of this project was the resident engagement. We hugely underestimated how much resident engagement there would be, but in a positive way. They wanted to hear all about it, and they were really interested in knowing where the heat's coming from, which was really exciting. I mean, we dug up their gardens like this over summer, and they were still happy about it, which is a massive achievement. And we've done this without changing any radiators in their properties as well. So we've connected to the existing wet system that was already in there. And we've done some studies with Fair Heat and shown that that was successful and they didn't need to be changed, and they've got happy, warm homes. Their heat interface units, which you have instead of a boiler on the outside of their properties, don't worry, that wood was just temporary and they've been properly boxed in now. But they got into the spirit of things at Christmas, and we often walk around and see them decorated for different things, which just shows how on board with it they are. Looking forward to the future, well, as I say, we want to decarbonise further, so we are looking at deep geothermal as well. So we're exploring the opportunities in Gateshead. Now, you're going to understand my technical knowledge of deep geothermal, and probably all of the technical people are going to shake their heads at me when I say we've got really good rocks in Gateshead. But we have, and we've got a really good opportunity to drill into these. So we're doing some studies with to look at connecting geothermal into the network. And the reason we want to do that is that we believe connecting homes to the heat network is a more cost-effective solution to decarbonising properties than connecting to a heat pump. So this just shows the cost to us if we were to connect to the heat network compared to if we were going to connect to individual properties to a heat pump. We also believe it's more efficient, and also there's less impact on the grid, which we all know has its constraints. So looking at a map of how that would work, you can see our kind of existing network at the top, and then coming down into Team Valley kind of area, looking at drilling sites. And there has been work done to look to see if that's possible. The surveys are being carried out for this opportunity. So I'm just going to kind of skip through a little bit. So this is the fractures that have been found in 2025. So we are proving that this is possible in Gateshead, and hopefully progressing that in the years to come to then really decarbonise the network further and provide low-cost heat and power to the people of Gateshead. Now, all of this doesn't happen if we don't have the right people on the ground to do this work. And I'm a big advocate that there is a place for everybody in heat networks. Most of my transferable skills come from 10 years as a manager in retail in Iceland, the supermarket. So there really is a place for everybody. But looking at the green skills that we need a wide range. So we need project managers like myself. We need people literally on the ground doing the civils. We need people who can service this equipment. So there's such a wide range of skills needed, and it's a really growing area that we need people to get more engaged with. So I think that will then also support those areas where employment is falling, and where we can reskill people, upskill people, where things like where gas is dying out, where we can upskill people to take on these new opportunities as part of the green agenda. Now, my next slides are I'm going to skip over, mainly because I realised I'll be duplicating what Michael's going to be speaking about in his next presentation. So apologies, but I will talk a little bit about them to kind of boost up Michael's presentation, because I'm sure it's going to be great. So we did a lot of work as well, as I said, about the engagement with Gateshead residents, and we did a forum with them. And there is a video which I can send people the link to. And honestly, anybody who works at local authorities, if you haven't done citizen engagement work with your residents, please do, because it was so rewarding. And they came up with ideas over those sessions that we just never thought would come from residents. We never thought people would care about these things, or would take years to come through as the council, and it was just so insightful and so rewarding. And I think that's really important that we remember that those people are the end users, and they have thoughts and opinions, and they have great ideas, and just because they might not have the technical background, or they might not be working in the field, everybody should have a voice when it's impacting their local communities. So I'm going to bring it to an end there, but if anybody's got any questions, then please let me know.